Welcome to the video, and today we're going to be balancing the Canon EOS R8 with the Canon RF 50mm f1.8 lens on the DJI RS-C2 gimbal. So first of all, let me grab what we need and let's get to balancing. Okay, so here we go. We have our gimbal, our plate, our camera, and lens combo, and all the accessories that we will need. Now, I have not put this camera set up at all on this gimbal before, so this will be a first experience. I'll try not to cut it very much during the edit. So, first thing we're gonna do, expand the gimbal out like this, and then we're going to actually remove the camera strap from the camera. If you have your camera strap on your camera when you're using it on a gimbal, it won't really work, so just make sure to remove the camera strap for that. I think that's pretty common sense, but let me just remove this. Here we go. Okay, and then the next thing what we're gonna do is pop in all the accessories. So we wanna take off the lens cap of the camera. Don't need this anymore. We're going to want to put in the battery and SD card before we get started. So battery just like that, and then let's pop in an SD card. This is a 3D printed SD card holder. There we go. There's an SD card. And we want, oh, there it goes. We want to make sure that the camera weight stays the same. We don't want to have to add weight to it after balancing. That could mess the balancing up. Okay, and then we're gonna flip the screen around so we can see it just like that. Okay, now what we're gonna do is add the base plate that goes on the bottom of the camera. For this, we're gonna add the short one because I don't think we're gonna need the long one. Well, we won't need the long one. You can use the bigger base plate if you're using big fat lenses that need that extra room. This 50mm does not because it's tiny. So just tighten it down so it's reasonably tight, like that. And there we go. This should be a super easy combo to balance on the gimbal because it's quite small. So we're gonna flip this around like this, and we're going to put this in like that, unlock it, lock it, and then slide it over a little bit, just like that. Then we're going to pop this on, just like that. It's a little bit too far forward. Let's lock it like that. And then we need to add our cable, which is not in this pack. Actually, let me see here. Yeah, so this lens is so short. Normally you would use this little lens support right here, but as you can see that this is not that case. This is actually the first lens I've ever used where it's been short enough to not need the lens support at all. So let's put that down. We shouldn't need anything else. Make sure that, again, don't add anything to the camera setup once it's balanced. We're going to add our camera control cable to go from the gimbal to the camera. This is really nice to have because you can control the focus of the camera. Now, I don't know if it'll work with the R8. I only used it with the R7 and Blackmagic cameras. So let's get that USB-C cable and see if we can get this to work. Okay, here we go. It's nice when everything's organized. Okay, let's put this on. You're gonna want it to put it on whatever port is for the camera. This gimbal tutorial I'm showing you right now is not specific to this setup. It works across all cameras and lenses as long as it balances perfectly, or close to it. So what I'm showing you today applies to all gimbals, not just this setup. Okay, so first of all, we are going to have these two axes locked. Actually, you don't have to lock the pan, it's just I do to keep it simple. Okay, so see how the camera is, when I set it down, it's just falling forward. We want to bounce it to the top. So we're gonna slide this back until it stops moving. Like, there we go. And we're gonna tighten this down. And we're going to do the same to this. So we want it to stay forward without sliding forward. And as you can see, it does not. So what we're going to do then is going to slide this whole mechanism forward by this latch right here. Slide it forward, forward a little bit more. There we go. Going to lock it. Now see how it doesn't move when I tilt it? This means it's balanced. It's balanced good enough. I mean, you could probably fine tune it just a little bit more. That's good enough. And then I usually tuck the cable up. But that doesn't really work since my lens is tiny. Okay, So there we go, that axis is balanced. Now we're going to lock this, just like this, and unlock the roll. And you see how it falls pretty severely? I balanced this gimbal last for the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, or 6K, so it's not right at all. Okay, so first of all, it's going that way. We're actually gonna slide the whole camera this way just a little bit. Probably not that much. We're probably gonna want to keep it a little closer. Usually I try to leave some gap between the camera and the motors for the SD card door, but because this camera's SD card door is on the bottom, can't really do anything about that, so we can just slide this whole part forward a little bit. And we can just move this part a little further as well. Okay, so we just want it to where it doesn't move. You lock it, and we can tilt it like that, and it stays. Okay, so that means that both of these axes are balanced. So I can just move it around anywhere. If it moves a little bit, that's okay. But as you can see there, it's pretty much done. Next, what we're gonna do is lock both of those. Put the gimbal front forward. And if your tripod leg, if you have a little tripod like this, if the tripod leg, the front one is facing forward, it'll be easiest. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, but what I'm gonna show you, you're gonna unlock the pan like that. And then what you're going to do is tilt it this way. And you see how it falls back? You don't want that. So what we're gonna do is move this whole axis forward a bunch, and then we're gonna try it again. So now it stays, it'll stay. No, so it's a little bit heavy on that direction. Bring it just forward a little tiny bit forward. Okay. And there we go. Unlock all three, and then we should be able to just move it anywhere on these two axes, and it'll stay. And then if we hold it like this, any position should stay. Some of the more extreme angles, it will still move, but there we go. Now what we're going to do is turn the gimbal on. So this part is specific to this gimbal, but all gimbals work the same. So now it's going to turn itself on, and it's not calibrated right, so start freaking out. So you're going to need to calibrate the gimbal. So just let it sit on a flat surface, and it will calibrate the motors to what the payload is. Because my last lens camera combo was so heavy, it's going to be a lot less intense on the motors for a lighter package like this. So it will have to adjust every time you balance a gimbal or set it up, you will need to calibrate it. Okay, and we are done. This camera combo is now set up and calibrated for the gimbal. And I should be able to move it all around like this. Now, again, as I said earlier, I've never used a combo this light on a gimbal like this before. So this kind of actually feels weird having it be so tiny. So there you go. That is how you balance and set up the Canon R8 with the RF 50mm lens on this DJI RSC2 gimbal. But the techniques applied in this video will work across all camera and lens combos and with all gimbals, as long as the camera and gimbal combo is compatible with itself. So one last thing is, if you are having trouble balancing it, if it just isn't working, try maybe adding a lens hood or something like that if you're not heavy enough in the front. But you can also buy counterweights to add to your setup to make it possible to use bigger cameras. I've actually had the Blackmagic Pocket 6K with a cage and a Sigma 70-200 on this gimbal, and it has worked barely. So that setup doesn't work with this, but it technically can. If you have enough counterweights, you can do some pretty crazy stuff on gimbals, but try to stay away from it if you can. But if you have to, they are available. You can get some from Small Rig for about $40. So there you go. That is how you do that. If you have any questions about this camera setup and combo or any other equipment I use, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'd love to answer your question. One last thing before we go, if you want to pick up any of the gear for yourself, check out my Amazon affiliate links in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything and really helps the channel out. Well, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.